I'm waiting for Brandon to drop the banana example on him.
Well, yeah, I was going to get to that. I mean, we all know what that's about. Well, we do. I don't know if everybody else watching does, but that's that's something we like to bring up a lot when Ray Comfort talks about, you know, his God banana being the perfectly designed food and all that. And it's just like GE was talking about, you know, humans selectively bred bananas to become what they are today. If you look what a wild banana looks like and go ahead and Google a wild banana, you can go ahead and see what it looks like. Very small and tiny, and very full of seeds, not very appealing at all. And you know, basically humans cultivated them and turned them into these much larger fruits with, you know, obviously at this point we've made them essentially seedless. Or the seeds are so small you can't see them. You certainly aren't going to be having them getting in your way when you're eating a banana and all that. So that's a perfect example of, you know, I don't know. I hesitate a little bit to call it genetic engineering because it's artificially, you know, it's artificial selection. We're not actually going in there and changing genes around or anything, although we are artificially selecting for, you know, the types of bananas that we want. It's very similar, a little bit different, but yeah, that's another very good example. And even corn, just even the corn that we're all familiar with. If you look what, you know, what the actual, you know, fleshy part or the seed part of the corn is naturally, it's nothing like what we eat today. So if you're unfamiliar with those examples, just like I said, go ahead and do a Google search and you can see exactly what humans have done and what kind of impact that's had. And so that's similar what we're doing today with GMOs with various crops to make them more bountiful, I guess, and be able to feed more people and more resistant to crops and pests, or to pests and diseases and things of that nature. So I was going to speak a little more on that when I get a chance. So I'll leave my comments there for now, I suppose.
I say go ahead because well, while we're on GMOs, because when we switch over to Dieter, we're going to talk about climate change. So
all right, that's
really
cool. All right, so that's cool. I'll finish up my comments then. So yeah, I mean basically, so GMOs are, you know, like GE said, genetically modified organisms, and there's a ton of benefits to doing this. I understand the risks that are involved. As you know, anytime humans are doing science, you have to think of ethical concerns, and you have to think of you know, potential consequences, even things that might be unintended or unforeseen. And that's just, you know, it's good to be cautious and do your due diligence and try to make sure. So I can understand people being slightly skeptical of GMOs or having concerns. You know, that's understandable. It's justifiable. But, you know, a lot of the things that are circulating out there that people are talking about, they're either just completely fabricated, completely not even realistic, not even things that could even occur. So, for example, you know, there's people who actually believe, say, for example, if we modified like a soybean crop to produce its own pesticide, essentially. So it produces its own chemical that stops pests from attacking it so that it can, you know, so they're not susceptible to predation and things of that nature. People think that if humans go ahead and consume these things, these soybeans that have this modified gene, that gene might be able to get into your body's cells, and then your body will start producing this pesticide and basically start poisoning yourself. That's not even something that can even occur. That's not the way it works. I mean, it just the way, you know, your body will break down these things when you consume things. The molecules are just way too big. You know, your cells don't just sit there uptaking entire chunks of DNA or genetic material, you know, that are floating around. It's just not going to happen. That's, you know, why like viruses have to actually attach to your cells and inject RNA or DNA into them to actually have an effect to make your cells start producing proteins, or, you know, the viral proteins start assembling new viruses, things of that nature. So concerns like that are just unrealistic. But if you're not informed, if you don't understand how these things work, you might take that and be, you know, very frightened and scared. But that's just not something that's realistic. Something that would be a realistic concern about GMOs would be, you know, we start producing all these crops that are only of a specific genetic makeup. So we put, you know, a certain gene in all these crops because it helps them be more bountiful. It helps them be resistant to diseases and pests and things of that nature. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have a population of crops that are all very similar, at least with respect to these genes. And so if you have some kind of change in the environment, if you have some kind of adaptations by pests or predators or diseases, and they can start attacking based on the new genetic makeup, all of a sudden you have your entire crop population is going to be susceptible to this new threat. And then what do? I mean, you're going to lose all your crops, and so that's, you know, because you kind of lost the natural diversity that exists there. So that's definitely something that is of concern that we should be very cognizant of when doing this, that we don't put all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak, because, you know, a lot of the reason we're doing these GMOs, as they have talked about, is to increase yield, is to put vitamins into the crops where people in areas where they might be deficient in those vitamins, things of that nature. So, you know, we want to be very wary of putting all of our crops at risk, because we're essentially trying to feed an ever-increasing global population by doing this, and we don't want to have it bite us in the ass and actually end up hurting us. So, you know, the whole thing, everybody's like, I know everybody's big against Monsanto and everything, and, you know, you can be of that opinion for various reasons, the factory farming and all that, but as far as GMOs go, I don't see any scientifically valid reason why we need to label GMOs. I think it would just be extraneous information that we don't need. It's not something you need to know. It would just feed into, you know, furthering this idea that GMOs are somehow bad, or there's something wrong with them, or you should be concerned about them. I think the concerns are not really with consuming them. There's outside concerns that are kind of correlated to doing this. But yeah, I mean, the general, you know, scaremongering and things that are going around, and hopefully that's why we're doing this show. We can hopefully at least educate some people out there, or at least encourage people to do their research and understand that GMOs aren't something that they need to be worried about as far as eating. As far as it goes with GMOs, I just had a couple other comments. You know, there's some countries like Ghana, I think I heard, just ban GMOs, and I think there's some European countries doing that. I think that's jumping the gun. I think that's going way too overboard right now. And then also there was someone in the chat on the YouTube video asking where they could find good information on GMOs. You know, obviously you could read scientific journals on them, but, you know, most people aren't going to do that. I don't know. I've just kind of gleaned this information just doing my own research and things of that nature. But if you're looking for a quick overview, I just did a quick Google search. So if you just Google search GMOs, and if you scroll down to the bottom of the first page of results, there's a nature.com article on there. And that looked pretty promising, just to get some good information. So that's something you can check out if you're looking for more info on GMOs.